As students start their day in Parkland, Florida, parent, educator, Dr. Amy Alamar is joining us with ways to help our kids deal with really stressful days here in our world. I mean, that can be very stressful, anxious. I've tried to talk to my son, about what happened. And, you have some conversation, but, there's just wonder, are they okay?
Yeah.
That's a big concern, I think, as parents. We all have that concern.
It's true. I mean, we sadly live in a time where this is their reality and has been since they've started school.
Yeah.
So they're kind of aware of it, and it's more matter of fact to them than we as parents realize. So they've been going through drills and they know their safety checks at school, and so it's great that you're checking in because sometimes we don't want them to become desensitized to it.
Right. It's almost like, though, it's like kind of old hat. We talk about it. How often do you do your drills? How do you know it's a drill? How do you know if it worked for real? Of course, if you hear of something, you're going to say something, right? And I guess the hope is just that all of that sets in with our kids, but also doesn't make them, I don't know, too
overly anxious.
Exactly.
Yeah. So hopefully you are having those conversations, and those are really good ones to have, and this is the time to do it. So making sure they do know to take these things seriously. So they may laugh it off, or they may not realize, how important it is. So do take the time to remind them. And then also, just tell them, I don't want to make you anxious, but just want to make sure that you understand all of the safety. And, do they have any questions? And being really open and honest with them so that if you can't answer the question now, that you come back to it and that you find the answer for them.
And is one way to sort of learn more is to ask about your kids' friends?
Sure. Well, that's always a good thing no matter what, right? You always want to know about their friends. Really watching them and listening to them is the best thing. So you can ask questions, but the more closed your questions, the less they'll answer. So you really want to ask open-ended questions.
So very generic questions.
Yeah, and really checking in on how they're doing and letting them talk, letting them start the conversation, being there, being a good listener to them, making the time and space where you wouldn't ordinarily have it. So maybe you have family dinners, you have the conversations there, but are you ever quiet in the car? Do you ever stop and listen? Do you have a moment after school where you're all rushing around, you're all on your phones, maybe putting them down and just being there, checking in what they're doing, and talking to them and looking for any signs that they have some anxiety. So, do kids seem irritated? Are they asking a lot of questions about it? Mm-hmm. Are they really withdrawn? Are they resistant to going to school? Things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are sort of warning signs that you should look out for.
Yeah.
Now, would you have any suggestions? I know sometimes it's hard when you have kids of varied ages.
Yeah.
You can't talk about everything at the dinner table when you have a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
That can be hard.
It's true, and you want to do age appropriate, and so your older sibling can help you with that, if you're really clear with them about, well, let's introduce it this way at this time, and then we'll talk more deeply later about it. I'm a big fan of talking to your kids at all ages about what's going on, and so you need to do it in that age appropriate way, but I'm not a big fan of sheltering them from all the information. I think that a 6-year-old can hear, they just maybe hear a limited version of it.
So it's taking the time to carve out a little bit of time for this age group and then this age group and then your older one.
And showing the older one, what do we say to the younger one, and letting them be a part of that conversation. Better they hear it through your mouth or the sibling's mouth and that they process it with you than separately and they hear about it somewhere else.
Right. And it's almost like you can't talk about it enough, right?
Yeah.
We need to be comfortable. We need to talk about it.
Yeah, it can
have
come
the
up.
conversations.
It can come up. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, Dr. Amy Alamar, thanks so much once again.
Thanks for having me.
Always a great help with these things.
Yeah.